Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is A Woman's Prerogative. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, I thought I just watched this a few hours ago. Well, you did, except today it's a different show. It's a different episode. We have 2 episodes each and every Monday at 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 8 p.m. and midnight. British summertime. So joining me today is the star of our show. Her name is MARISKA, and if you haven't met her before, she's from New Zealand, where they are a day ahead of us. MARISKA and I met several years ago when we started in a coaching course together to get certified, and she continued on her journey. Let's welcome her and hear what she's been up to. Hello, welcome.
Hello, and I am so happy to be part number 2 of A Woman's Prerogative. 2, it seems like it's just a magical number for me.
I think it definitely is. And I just am always in amazement that I'm winding down my day and you're starting your day up. And yet here we are together discussing matters that are of interest and importance as we inspire and motivate people from all over the world.
Yes, I absolutely love it. And the fact that I am able to let you guys know that we are going to have a bright tomorrow, seeing as, yes, in wintry New Zealand, seeing as we also have a difference in seasons, we still have a bright day. So that's good news too, I think.
I agree with you. Absolutely. It's hard to believe we're going into summer and you're in winter.
Yeah. What can I say? We just do everything the opposite way.
The exact opposite. But some things we do the same way. Some things that are really important, which are lifting up other people and coaching. You are a transformation and leadership coach. You also have your own podcast. Tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing here on this platform, on this show, as well as one of our expert presenters on Talking Heads. You're also a children's book author, actually now a #1 Amazon best-selling author. Yay! Congratulations.
So many wonderful things. And I have to say that a large portion of the wonderful things definitely has either been because of this platform or shared on this platform. So if there's anybody else out there that would like wonderful things, which I think everybody does, this is definitely the place to be, whether you are listening, watching, or even coming on a show with us. So what do I do around here on USA Global TV and Radio? Of course, this show that I love hosting with Dr. Jacalyn, and we are co-creating this. And during my summer and your winter, I also get to have the pleasure of Janetta and Madeline and Caroline and everybody else on the other panels insets into our discussion. So that's always lovely. And then I am also on our Talking Heads show. So if you don't know what that is, we have a show called Talking Heads. Yes, I'm not the only presenter. There's a whole panel of experts that give us different lessons throughout the week, and they show up to help educate us and to level all of us up. So if there's anything related to anything from cooking all the way through personal development, definitely go and have a look. Of course, if you go to mine, you will find conversations around leadership as well as understanding ourselves better. So that's what I do on this platform. As Dr. Jacalyn mentioned, I also co-authored the Lady Ella, the Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella book series with Dr. Jacalyn. And we are currently going on to book number 4. Yes, 2, it seems like, is a good number for me because it's 2 + 2, which is 4. And that book is coming out in June. And Dr. Jacalyn, it's on June the 26th.
That's correct, June 26th.
There you go. So that one, do make sure that you pre-order that book and be one of the first to get it in hand, so to speak. And if you can really not wait, you can also get it on Kindle, which means you will get it immediately, which is typically something I do. It just takes a little bit longer to get from the US to New Zealand. I don't know. They haven't sorted out teleportation and all the rest yet, so we can't use it. We need to use the old-fashioned postal system, and it takes a while. So that's what I do book-wise. And then, oh yes, there's the coaching stuff that I also do. So I work with clients within the specialization field that wants to move into leadership or have already moved into leadership. And for those that's in leadership, moving up in their career as well, to bring more of this lovely human element into what we do at work. Because, I mean, we are all here on this planet having a human experience. Why we ever thought that it would be a good idea to take that out of the workplace, I have no idea. But we are definitely bringing it back in. So that's what I do, and very long-winded answer.
Well, thanks for sharing that. You're doing quite a bit, and we are very excited about the upcoming Lady Ella book that's coming out, as you mentioned, June the 26th. So our children's book series is all about helping children and their families learn to listen at an elevated level. And the books include animal characters who represent people who have taken the Power of Listening Foundation course, and they become certified as elevated listeners. We'd love to have you join us. There's more information on our websites, usaglobaltv.com or drjacalyn.com. All right, let's talk about our topic today, which is what I gave up to get to where I am. We had a really good discussion on the first show, and I know we will here as well. So, Mariska, would you like to go first and tell us where you are now versus where you were? When I say to you, where were you? Where was that?
Wow. See, that's an interesting question. When I heard this question, my first thought was, how long back do I go?
What pops into your head? Typically, I know for me, when I think about where I was, something comes up right away. So does anything come up for you?
I would say prior to transitioning into coaching would most probably be the place that my brain go, because it's most likely because most transitions are little bookmarks. It's almost like we've lived a life in one piece, and then we transitioned for whatever reason, and now we're living a different life. So that becomes sort of either a different book in our series of books that we write throughout our life, going on the book theme, or it becomes a different chapter. So either one of the two happens. And I think for me, it was a little bit of a different book, but in the same series of this is my life and this is how it works for me. And around the giving up, I'm not not sure whether there was a giving up per se. So the way that I have framed it for myself, it's more of a evolution, a metamorphosis. So keeping the essential pieces that I wanted to keep within that, and then changing it into something different and new. So that's the way that I look at it. And I'm not sure whether that is answering the question at all, Dr. Jacalyn.
That's okay. You answered the question. So I feel like every time we move forward, we are letting go of something. It could be negative thoughts, negative beliefs. It could be a person. It could be time. It could be money. There's a lot of things that it could be. So I'll just share a little bit about what comes to mind for me, and maybe that will prompt you to think of something for you. When I think about where I was in corporate, and I was there, I think, 28 years. And I had a great career. I really enjoyed it. I made good money. I traveled to really cool places. I got to eat at the best places, stay at the best places. I really had a wonderful career, but I was sick quite often. And I typically had some part-time job that I was doing on the side, because I always need to continue to grow. And I got my doctorate. I got my master's and my doctorate while I was working. And I just had this weird allergy, shellfish allergy, that was airborne. And I'd be in a restaurant, somebody walks by with a plate of shrimp, and all of a sudden my throat's closing. And sometimes I'd go to the hospital. And it was very strange. And in fact, where we live now, we're right across the street from a seafood market. And when they had their doors open, I could smell the shellfish coming into my room. And anyway, I ended up resigning, as you know, because you helped me put together the plan to leave. And that was March the 6th of 2020. And I was going to be focusing on my coaching. I'm a certified life, career, and executive coach, certified yoga instructor, certified meditation teacher. And of course, the pandemic hit and nobody could afford to pay for anything. And I was giving everything away for free, doing a radio show part-time. And so anyway, now I'm doing this, and I've been doing this. As you know, we started out rapping with Dr. Jacalyn with just one show on Facebook and YouTube and on Business Talk Radio. And now we have 40 shows, not that we're doing 40 all every week. So what I let go of was security. I let go of a paycheck. I let go of health benefits, and I let go of knowing that I belonged somewhere, that they were really good to me. And it was a lot of comfort. I felt safe there, even though I didn't feel well. And now, as an entrepreneur with two businesses, it's very hard to say you feel safe because there's always something coming. There's a lot of expenses in running your own businesses. And on the other side, it's tremendous. I would never go back. So I gave up security. I gave up the money. I gave up the healthcare benefits. I gave up traveling around the world on somebody else's dime. So there are definitely things I gave up. So when I share that with you, does something come up about things that you might have given up?
I think to an extent, and that goes back to the point you made around being an entrepreneur, there is some financial flexibility and fluidity within that space. And instead of going to work for a paycheck, we need to ensure that we create that income stream, fill in blank for finances. Yeah, sort of thing. So within that space, yes, the security for a consistent income of a certain value is no longer there. And there is also the opportunity to create something more or different. And the consistency of what I create all depends on me. And I think to a degree, that is something that it's one of those things that for me is transforming rather than a letting go. So it's not that I can't have a consistent income. I need to approach it in a different way in order for me to create it. And that's where my thinking around this letting go, yes, and understanding my values. So one of the things that I really appreciate around the personal development and just understanding ourselves better thing around life is really understanding our values. So the things that's important to us and the things that maybe they sort of a second or a third tier down. So their importance, if I had to live without them, yes, life might not be as great, but I will still be able to live a life worth living versus the things that I value, where if I didn't have them, I could just as well not be doing this. So understanding that helps me personally understand what I can and cannot let go of. And the letting go of is more of a, well, this might either be blocking my progress, it might be a temporary inconvenience. So when I think about the finances thing, going through a period where, well, had to sort of work different jobs, smaller things in order for me to grow and create my business. So understanding that that is part of what my journey looked like for me to get where I am now. And the letting go of that constant income from an employer and moving into this, it looks different. And I need to create something different in this space. And I can get back to a constant income. The thing is that now I need to create that, and understanding that that's part of my responsibility and actually taking responsibility for what I let go of and what I keep, and making sure that the things I keep is within my value range, and the things that I let go of, well, is in all likelihood the things that really in the long run I don't want or need in my life. So that would be the way that I would look at the giving up or letting go of element of it. And sometimes there is things that we have in our life that we think, oh, I will never be able to live without this thing. And when we evaluate it and we really think about it, we come to the conclusion that it might not be as important as we think. Or it might be more important than we think, and there's something else that we can let go of. So an example of this, I remember, and I think that's most probably the reason why my brain think about it in this way. So in anything that we let go of, there's a gift. And I remember when I was, I think, 11 or 12, they're roundabouts. We moved from the city to a farm. And now, typically, when we are in our preteen, teenage sort of years, any move is a shock, right? We have our friends and we have all those other things that's important, so important to us, because how dare anybody want to change anything? But that's part of life. So when we moved, initially, I thought, well, I have to let go of all my friends, and I have to let go of city life, and I have to let go of all these other things. And now I need to give this up. And after a while, I came to the conclusion that I actually have it a lot better off on the farm. I'm learning other things. I'm learning a different way of living. I am also learning to appreciate things in a different way. So instead of having a room and a couple of friends and maybe going out every weekend to whichever is the latest, greatest place to go out to, I got to spend time with my family. I got to spend time on the farm with animals. And I really, really love animals. So for me, that was a big thing already. I got to understand how the ecosystem works and how things complement each other and help each other evolve, how there's symbiosis within certain relationships. And as I learned all of these things, I could see how I can actually apply it to myself and within my own spaces. And that made a big difference as to how I approach life in general. So the giving up is sometimes required. It reminds me of pruning a tree. If we have a fruit tree and we don't prune them, after a season or two, what will happen is their limbs will literally start breaking because of the fruit that they bear in certain places and the overgrowth that is not at the core of the tree. And hence, we need to prune them. So we're literally giving some of those branches up, we're taking them away in order for the tree to thrive and grow and have new growth. And that is also what we need to do within our life. And Dr. Jacalyn, you always inspire me. You always inspire me because when I look at you, I can see this enormous amount of growing and growing and growing and being able to take the pruning shears and cut branches that does not serve you. So
thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That was a beautiful analogy. I love it. And you bring up a good point, because I think this also is something that really is a curveball for entrepreneurs. When you have a business and you want it to be successful, you literally have to be in that business many, many hours. I shared yesterday on social media that I counted it up and I'm working 80 to 90 hours a week. And sometimes it's even more than that. And people might think I'm crazy, but I just know from surrounding myself, listening to people who are really successful and what it took. And I even go on to Clubhouse and I listen to the Breakfast Club, the Millionaire Breakfast Club, I think it's called. I forget. The Champions, Millionaire Champ. I forget. Doesn't matter, but you can find it. And they talk all about it, about what it takes to be successful. So you can't be in the business part-time and expect to have major results. So for me, that's another thing that I've given up. I've given up a social life. I've given up the ability to come and go and do whatever it is I please, because I'm working. If I'm not working, then I'm working out. If I'm not working out, I'm having dinner with my family, and that's pretty much it. That's all I'm really doing. And it's okay because I have a plan. I started watching the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary on Netflix. I'm watching the second part, and it was interesting because there's an analogy relates to a movie, but this person is climbing a mountain and sees a larger mountain in the distance and thinks not just what happens when I get to the top of this mountain, but what am I going to do to get to the top of the other mountain? And that was my takeaway. One of them from this Netflix documentary is that Arnold Schwarzenegger was never hasn't been about complacency. It's about the next thing and the next thing. And I've always been like that too with the gold stars. And I've been criticized for that you're never happy with anything. It's not that I'm not happy. I like to learn. I'm a very curious person. So I like to learn new things. And just in the course of the last 2 years, I've learned about marketing. I've learned about accounting. I could go on and on. Graphic artist. I have a broadcast engineer. I have all these things that I never knew anything about that I've had to learn as a business owner. So it's quite exciting, but it comes at a price.
Yeah. I think So as you were talking, one of the things that's coming up for me is that this curiosity, this wanting to learn continuously, is a value for you. So if that wasn't inherent in what you were doing right now, this would be soul crushing. And you will most probably not give up all the things that you have given up because you didn't have that core piece to it.
That's very true. And I think that's really why I went back for my master's degree. I went for my doctorate. I got my life coaching cert. It's not about, oh, look at me. It's about the learning. It's about constantly increasing your knowledge. And I was never an author. I wrote a doctoral dissertation, but that was it. And there were some people who didn't believe in whether or not I could write. And it didn't really matter to me because I had a story in here that I wanted to tell. And as you know, I started with one book, then a second book, then we went into the children's series, and I'm doing some other books. I think I'm doing 4 books right now at the same time. And I actually wrote a song yesterday. I think that's the second or third song, but the first song I've written by myself. Why? Because I wanted to experience something. And you can't do that unless you're curious and you're open. And that's what I found when I was in corporate. Also, as much as I loved it, I was stifled in some ways because I was insecure and I was afraid to speak up, especially if we were all sitting around the boardroom table or conference room table and people were talking and the same people were always the main people speaking, and you just start to feel insecure. But when I went out on my own, there's nobody that I have to answer to from this perspective. There's always people to answer to. So it's just been an incredible learning journey. But again, at a price.
Yes. And I would almost venture to say that what was cut out, what was left behind, and what you gained from what you are doing now, to me, it feels like you are more in your element, on purpose, in the space where if you were to die tomorrow and somebody asked you, did you live a life worth living? Even if you only looked at the past 3 years, what would that answer be?
Absolutely. We had a show on this, but I absolutely feel like I am creating a legacy that will be here long after I'm gone. And that legacy is that this is a network with people from around the world who never met each other, had no idea about one person or another person. Some people didn't even know about certain parts of the world. And now they've come together in a heart-centric way. And that's what makes this network different from all the others, because it's about providing education, inspiration, and motivation and hope for people. It's a happy place, and it's a place where I really stress getting involved with other people on the team. So once you come to the team, it's like we're opening our arms to you and saying, yes, you're part of the family. You know, go and find ways to work together to make this world a better place.
Yeah. And that is such a different response from where you still to be in your corporate environment, right? I am sure if you were in that environment, that answer would be significantly different.
Absolutely. You know, going back to this Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary, it's fascinating to me because he grew up in a certain environment and he wanted to get out and he wanted to be a bodybuilder, and he set his mind to it. And against all odds, it seemed was almost impossible. And he wanted to get to America. And then he got to America, became Mr. Universe. Then he wanted to be not just an actor. He had no acting experience whatsoever. He wanted to be the leading man, the star of the movies. And he did all of it. And he did it his way, because to him, and I forget exactly what he said, so I apologize, Arnold, but it was something to the effect that when a challenge would come up, he wouldn't see the challenge. He saw where he wanted to go, and he would figure out, how am I going to get there? And I think that's a big takeaway from this show and just about life in general, is that obviously things are going to go wrong. things are not going to go the way we expect. And it's not just how do we show up, but it's, are we still on point in our mind, in our spirit, in our commitment to go climb that mountain? And if so, are we going to keep going back to how am I getting to that mountain? Are we going to go back to the negative thought, or here's the problem that's right in front of me? And I think that if we focus on that, we're going to get to where we want to go. So I'm going to share something with you, and then I'd like to hear from you. But I was thinking about, if I look at different role models, because I think that's really important. And that's why we work with coaches and mentors, right? We have role models. Oprah Winfrey is a role model to me. And she's done a lot of amazing things. She's an incredible person, has a really big heart. I don't know her personally. I was on the Stairmaster next to her in Philadelphia many, many years ago, which is another story. So that to me is like the humanitarian side, and also the broadcasting side. Of course, she's an actress and so many more things. But on the coaching side, Tony Robbins is who really stands out to me. And I really admire how he's been able to create his own tribe, his own people, that the amount of money he charges for the things that he does, and they're always sold out. And now he's got coaches under him, and these coaches have coaches, and he's built this incredible community because it's all about him and his mission. And so they're the two people who inspire me, the people that make me want to get out of bed and be better. How about you?
Ooh, mine is a little bit further back in history, actually. So a person that I would say is a inspiration and somebody that I really look up to is Albert Einstein. And not only because he came up with all the interesting ways of thinking about the universe, I think something that I really appreciate about him is the fact that when he looks at anything, first off, there's a part of magic that he sees in everything. So yes, there's some reasoning and there's some science behind it, and there's a magic that draws him to it. He also didn't have so if we think about science in general, and I'm sorry, this is me geeking out a little bit. So when we think about Newton, the laws that Newton came up with was really very much earth-based. So looking at the boundaries of the planet and what we were working with. Whereas when we look at Einstein's theories, it is a lot broader. So it is not only applicable to Earth, it can be utilized in other places too. So that's one thing that I really appreciate about him. And then another thing that I found out not so long ago was that when he came up with any new theory, he was actually learning new languages. So interesting fact, and I am trying very hard to see whether I can do this, because I love the way that this works, and being bilingual, I can really see it applicable. So I am starting my next language journey, and hopefully I will be able to speak it as well as I speak English. So what happens is each language helps us to think in a specific way. It's structured in a specific way. So when we think in that language, we will get certain ways of thinking, and we will get certain outcomes. So another, for those of us that are in the diversity and inclusion portions of things, one of the other things to also take into consideration is bringing different languages together. Because what happens is when a person thinks in that language, we will get different solutions because of the structure of the language. So that I found quite interesting as well, as he was working with the theories that he had and the problems that he was trying to solve. He also learned new languages and then looked at the problem again. And I know that there's one of his quotes that say that the mind that came up with the problem is not the one that would solve it. So we need to change the way we think And that might be by learning a new language so we can approach it with a different language, literally a different way of thinking, in order for us to solve the problem. So I would say that would be one of the people that I really, really admire for a variety of different reasons. So yes, Dr. Jacalyn, not quite two.
No, I love it. Albert Einstein, that's fascinating. I really can understand how you would feel that way.
Yeah, he was a big thinker. I like thinking.
So what I want people to take away from this is that whether you realize it or not, you out there watching or listening, you could very well be a role model for somebody and you don't even know it. So I want all of us to feel proud about what we're doing. If you don't like what you're doing, do something else. Don't let years of your life go by thinking, what if? And if you have a paycheck and you love the paycheck, but you hate the job, life is short. Money comes, money goes. I wish more money would be coming in sooner, but I'm sure that it's on its way.
Yes.
So I think it's a matter of realizing that whether you realize people are watching you or they're not. In fact, something happened today. I don't have it here with me, but I posted on social media. I got a card in the mail from the Penn State Great Valley Alumni Association, which Penn State's a university here in the United States. I got my bachelor's and I got my master's, and my master's I got at their Great Valley facility. And they have a group of people who watch the alumni to see what they're doing. And they sent me this card along with this Penn State Great Valley. It's a phone charger. They sent me this card that just said that they saw that I've become an adjunct professor at Dr. Justina's school, which is the Intercontinental School of Economics and Applied Sciences. And they wanted to congratulate me and let me know that they see the things that I'm doing. So I had no idea about that. So I posted it today so that people can realize that you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's learning from you. And we should show up as our best selves and realize we can all be a mentor or a coach, whether we are officially trained or not. We can all lend a hand to help bring somebody along the way or pick somebody up.
Yes. We are. I typically tell this to the leaders, especially new leaders. We so often forget that we are always in the spotlight. Literally, people are looking at us, at what we do and how we do it, to take a cue from what is working, what is acceptable within this space that we are operating. And whether you have the title of leader or not, doesn't matter. It goes back to Dr. Jacalyn, what you just said. People are watching. They don't have to say anything, but they're still watching. And it's not to pressurize you in any way. So when you think about, everybody's watching me. Yes, there's a little bit of that maybe going on. And also making sure that we are our authentic selves, making sure that we do what we do from that true place within us. That is really us, not someone else, not someone else's ideas or things or speakings through us, but us. And that's really important because it gives other people the permission to be themselves then too. And Dr. Jacalyn, I don't know about you, but I think the world can only take one of me. I don't need copies.
I absolutely love that. Well, this has been another fun show that has just flown by. I can't believe it. So we'll be here again next week. And Mariska, you can find her here doing her Talking Heads on our Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. What time and day is that in New Zealand?
So in New Zealand, that is a Friday. Yes, we are a day in the future. And it is in the morning. So for me, it is at 10:30 in the morning.
All right, fantastic. And also, I just want to call attention to everyone. If you have not gone to our YouTube channel, I don't know what you're doing because you're missing some incredible education and entertainment. We have hit new highs in terms of the number of subscribers. I think we're at 21,000, and the number of views, I think it was 100, and I don't even know, but it keeps growing. So please be part of this platform with us. Go over and subscribe. Go to youtube.com, go to search engine, put in USA Global TV and Radio. Will come right up. I've got it on the television right here behind me. And then you'll see the playlist. Each of our shows is put into a playlist to make it nice and easy for you to find the content that you want. If you don't see something that you want to see, as long as it's not about politics, sex, or something else, then let us know, and we will think about doing a program on that. So, Mariska, we have your information up. Please let people know how to contact you and who you would like to contact you.
Okay, so how to contact me is you can either get hold of me via my email, which is mariska@journey to, see, I said I love the number, to discover.com. So that's the email address. Or alternatively, you can get a hold of me via LinkedIn and drop me a private chat there, and we can connect. So that's the best two ways of doing that. Of course, if you are in New Zealand, you can always phone me, and there's a variety of ways to get hold of my phone number, which I am not going to put on air. Oh, so yes, maybe that might cause a bit of stalking there. I don't know. And then people to reach out. As I mentioned, I love working with people that is within specializations, going into leadership, as well as leaders moving up within their space. So either or, one of those two. Or if you have any friends that are pondering that space, you can also send them my way. So that is both of those things answered, as far as I know.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here tonight, tomorrow. Mariska, it's great having you. And we'll see you again on our Thursday, your Friday.
I look forward to it, and see everybody in a couple of days, literally.
Absolutely. Bye for now.
Bye.
And thank you to those of you who are watching us or listening on the live or on the replay. We really do appreciate you. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, it's very easy. Go to usaglobaltv.com, the name of our network. You can see it here in the corner, and go to book your session. You'll see a number of courses and things that we offer. Scroll down and you'll see the shows that we have. They're actually on 2 separate pages. Find a show that you like. Please realize that all shows are in Eastern Daylight Time. So whatever time zone you're in, you're going to have to translate that. We do have people there 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. I got somebody coming up at midnight. He's like, no, this is important. So just realize what the time difference is, and that's it. Show up and we will be very happy to support your work. If you're a publicist, I just had 2 more reach out to me today. Please remember that the guests need to register themselves. We can't be registering for anyone because people have to accept the terms and conditions. All right. Thank you very much. We're signing off for now. We will be back tomorrow. Bye.